Hey guys, what's up? I'm FIFA Gaming, Paddy FIFA Gaming, and I'm not gonna be doing any games until FIFA 14 actually comes out. But I'm gonna be doing a Barclays Premier League breakdown today. So let's get on with it. Um, Looking at the table now, we see Chelsea leading, then Manchester City with 6 points, Liverpool with 6 points, Tottenham with 6 points, and Chelsea obviously having 7 points coming first. Then we got Stoke City also having 6 points, and then pretty much it drops down to a string of teams having 4 points, then a string of teams having 3 points, and 2 teams having 1 point, and the team coming last, Swansea City, having 0 points. So pretty much it is a bit early to say anything about the teams, but looking at the games I've seen, the teams that do look good obviously is Chelsea. Chelsea and Manchester City have looked pretty decent. They've made a lot of good signings. Also, Tottenham Hotspur, they've lost Gareth Bale, but they've made, they played alright. They are in the top 4. They've played pretty good, and yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the ins and outs of each team. Alright, starting with in alphabetical order, Arsenal. With the ins, they have 2 players, Yaya Sonogo and Matthew Flamini, and this is something. This is why fans are so angry. The Arsenal fans, they're angry because they brought in 2 players which really aren't the biggest players, because pretty much Arsenal were going for big players like Di Maria and whatnot, and they're going for really big players. And the thing here is, Arsenal just love making money, don't they? They've pretty much sold what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 players, which includes Javinho, which I really thought were one of their really big players. So pretty much they've sold Javinho. They haven't really brought back anyone big. So it's not really looking good for Arsenal, is it? Anyway, going to Aston Villa, there's nothing really big there. They've sold a couple of players, but something I see, that Darren Bent, he is being sent out to Fulham on loan, which I don't know. It's one of those things where obviously it must have been something about his wages or something, but I haven't really gone into that much, but it's obviously something that they've wanted to do. And we're going on to Cardiff City. There's nothing really big there, except for a really talented centre back from Tottenham, Steven Kolkner, coming in on loan. Oh no, he's not in. They have actually bought him. Wow. So I've seen him play. He's really talented and he's something for the future. But anyway, they've bought him. And then going into Chelsea, they've being an Australian, they've brought in 4 players, which includes Mark Schwarzer, and some of you might not know him. Many of you do, mainly because he played for Fulham. He played for many teams actually, but many of you guys might know him because he is the Socceroos' #1 goalkeeper. And to be honest, as Socceroos, with the World Cup coming so close, I thought he would be going to a club where he would be getting a lot of playtime, but obviously he's going into a really big club, Chelsea. They've already got Petr Cech and the Beast, so I don't think Mark Schwartz will be getting not a lot of games. He might get the Capital One games and the domestic league games, and maybe some Barclays Premier League games if Petr Cech gets injured, tired, but you know. So from an Australian point of view, the only reason why I think he came here is because maybe he wants some glory in his last season, and I'm pretty sure Chelsea, if he wants to go to a team that will win something, it's Chelsea. So maybe he went there for something like that, but I don't know. It's a pretty weird thing, and just looking at the other players they haven't brought in anyone big. They've brought in Andre Shkreli, I don't know how to say that. They've brought in Mario and Ginku Willian, but they've also they've lost Maluda, Ferreira, and Wallace. They pretty much given a lot of players on loan to for the players to develop. So good signs for Chelsea. Looking at Crystal Palace, they've got a lot of ins. No one really big, and it's not the biggest club, so you expect that, but so yeah, they haven't really brought anyone in. They have brought a lot of players in actually, but no one really big, I should be saying. Moving on to Everton, they obviously lost David Moyes, their manager, to Manchester United, and they've brought in Roberto Martinez. They've actually brought in a couple of really alright players. They've brought in Gerard Deulofeu. I really like this guy. He's definitely got some talent, but he's on loan from Barcelona, so it's not fair them to keep, but obviously for them to use throughout the season to maybe finish a bit higher. They've brought in another couple of players, but Deulofeu is a name that really comes out to me. Then going on to Fulham, they've brought in Derek Boateng, Martin Stecklenburg, the goalkeeper. They've brought in Darren Bent, who I told you before, who's coming in from loan, and Scott Parker. They brought Scott Parker from Hotspur. They've lost, as I said before, Mark Schwarzer. They've released Simon Davies. Fulham, they're a team that's on the horizon. I think they're going in the right direction, bringing in Martin Stecklenburg. But I expect them to be a middle, just maybe a bit higher than middle table. Maybe around that area, mid-table finish. Alright, so Hull City. This is not a really big team, but I'm going for all the teams here because I know there's going to be a lot of fans who go for a large variety of teams. So anyway, the ins, they haven't brought in anyone big. The only person I see there is Steve Harper from Newcastle United, who pretty much didn't want him anymore, even though he's been a really big server of the club. Pretty much the manager said it was time for him to leave, so pretty much he just left. With the outs, not really big players here because they are pretty obviously smaller clubs. But yeah, going on to Liverpool, they have, they haven't brought in anyone big. They did lose Stuart Downing, Osama Asadi to Liverpool on loan. But they sold Stuart Downing to West Ham. But they've given away Pepe Reina on loan, which is a bit weird, but anyway, they've also sold Jonjo Shelvey, some of their players who were a part of their first team squad. They've got Sissoko, Luis Alberto, Colo Torre. So yeah, Liverpool, they have strengthened their already pretty strong looking team, but I expect them to be around the top 4. Going on to Manchester City, a team that you always see in the transfer negotiation window since they're so rich. But anyway, they've brought in Steven Jovetic, Jesus Navas, Fernandinho, who I'm not really sure who that is. but they pretty much brought in two players from the same club. So they've obviously thought they've got some talent. They've lost Colatore, as I said, to Liverpool, Wayne Bridge to Reading, on Carlos Tevez to Juventus. They've they brought in Jesus Nanvers, I think, and Steven Gerrard, who they're both really talented, and they pretty much lost Tevez, who I think he's brought Steven Gerrard is pretty much brought in for Tevez. Jesus Navas is just brought in, I think, just because of his talent, and he had a really outstanding season. Going into Manchester United, the manager, obviously Sir Alex Ferguson, is gone and David Moyes is in. They've brought in Varela, and they've lost Wooten and Angelo Henriquez on loan, both young players. Going on to Newcastle United, they've brought in Oliver Keeman and Loic Rimai. They've lost Danny Simpson, James Perch, Mehdi Abed, Brad Inman. So they've lost a couple of good players who have played in the first team, but they brought in some other players as well. So we'll see how it goes. Going on to Norwich City, they have a ton of players which they've brought in. They haven't brought in anyone eye-catching. They haven't lost anyone eye-catching. I'm just trying to look for players that Gary Hooper. That's a player that's in. Well, anyways, going on to Southampton, they have brought in Dejan Lovren. I've heard him. I'm not actually quite sure who he is. It's the same as Norwich City. They haven't brought in. They haven't actually brought in as many players as Norwich City, but they've lost quite a few. Probably players that they didn't need. I'm going on to Stoke City, who's actually impressed me so far. They lost 1-0 against Liverpool, and they've had two other teams that who were pretty easy opponents, but they've pretty much impressed me. So they've brought in Osama Asadi, a really good forward player. They've brought in Eric Peters, Mark Muniesa. They've lost some players that they did have, but most of them, they just gave away pretty much. I'm going on to Sunderland. They've brought in a huge load of players, but no one really big. Wellington, Robeg, Emmanuel G. Sherini from Juventus. So yeah, they've brought in some players, not really big high-profile players. Now going on to Swansea City, they haven't brought anyone big, but in another team, it's small, not really big, so you expect that. Going on to Tottenham now, a team that is pretty big. They've brought in Paulinho, Eric Lamela. Eric Lamela was supposed to. There's rumours of him going to Arsenal, but obviously he chose the rivals, so fans of Arsenal won't be happy. They have brought Roberto Salvador from Valencia. Out they lost Stephen Colkner, who I said before, who's really talented. They've lost Scott Parker, who's been like the old warhorse. Clint Dempsey to Seattle Sounders in the USA. To the American League. David Bentley, they've released him, and pretty much yeah. Going on to West Bromwich, another team not really high profile, but they've brought in Anelka. They Scott Sinclair on loan, but no one really big there. Going on to West Ham, the last team on the list, they brought in Adrian, Andy Carroll. They bought Andy Carroll from Liverpool. Stuart Downing from Liverpool. They've lost Robert Hall, Gary O'Neill, and Carlton Cole. So pretty much that's all the transfer news so far. Hopefully they could add some players onto the list of Arsenal. But yeah, so pretty much that's how the league looks like so far. I'll be making more videos like this as the league goes on, but until then, this is it. So pretty much I'll just go through the table again. Chelsea, Manchester City, Liverpool, Tottenham, Stoke City, Manchester United, West Ham United, Norwich City, Southampton, Cardiff, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Arsenal coming in at 13th, then Crystal Palace 14th, Everton, Fulham, Hull City. Then in the 3 relegation spots, West Bromwich Albion, Sunderland, and Swansea City. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed my video. It went really long. Hopefully you guys listen to it. There's nothing really big happening in the background, but yeah, I will add the pictures of the transfer lists and stuff. So yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you guys enjoyed it, please subscribe, like. I'm a new YouTuber, so hopefully this is something like the beginning of something really big. I'm doing this just for the love of football. Hopefully you guys watched it for the love of football, and hopefully the game continues. Anyway, I'm from Australia, so pretty much these games for me, I watch them. I stay up all night watching them. So yeah, so anyway, I hope you guys had an awesome, great day, and yeah, hopefully Arsenal sign more players. So yeah, see ya.